Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for an information session, especially for you alumni, in order to give you some options to convert your postgraduate program into an MBA or a master program. First of all, we're going to be different speakers this afternoon. Myself, my name is Macrina Hernandez. I'm in charge of enrollment and admissions. But we have several speakers this afternoon from faculty. But first of all, I would like to introduce Sophie Thomas, who's the Director of Alumni Engagement. And since all of you here are alumni, she would like to say a few words to you. Thank you, Sophie.
Thanks, Macrina. Hi, everyone. Lovely to see you all. Not that I can actually see you, but you're all here listening. So first of all, it's lovely to meet you. I started about 6 months ago, and I've been slowly but surely joining different calls, different webinars, hosting different sessions to, during these strange times, get a chance to actually speak and connect to a lot of alumni. We hear from a lot of alumni that are looking to further their studies, further their education, and so this session hopefully will be really helpful for those that have done a postgraduate diploma with Les Roches. Please, if you haven't already, check out our new alumni website, which is alumni.lesroches.edu, where on there you can find a whole load of resources, lots of different webinars that we've held over the last few months, but also really interesting articles from different alumni, but also a place for you to reconnect with other alumni. There's a huge network of you out there, and the new website we're looking to improve all the time, so everyone is welcome. You can also reach out to me through LinkedIn or email us if you have any queries or questions whatsoever for the alumni team. We've got a team based in London and also some in Switzerland, and we have the team out in Marbella as well. So enjoy the session, and if anyone has any alumni questions, please get in touch. Thanks, Macrina.
Thank you, Sophie, for your words. So as promised, this afternoon we have several faculty members and also alumni students, both from the Crans-Montana campus and also from the Marbella campus. So we're going to start with Spain. And if you have studied in Marbella, you might remember our program manager, Mr. Jon Loiti. So good afternoon, Mr. Loiti. I think you're in mute. We cannot hear you.
Right.
That's
Hi,
better.
everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah. So as Macrina already said, my name is Jon Loiti, and I'm a graduate program manager in Les Roches Marbella. I've been in the school for 12 years, and obviously a part of my management position, I also teach. So if you've been in Marbella doing the PGD, it's very likely that we cross our lives on that period of time. As I said earlier this morning, I hope that this session helps you understand better your options, helps you understand better how to develop your careers further, and hopefully you will get some answers for some questions that you may have. And that's basically our job here today, try to clarify your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Loiti. Thank you for reminding us that we can post questions. Yes, there is 2 options for you to ask questions to all our panelists today. You have the chat box where you can write to us. Also the questions icon that you can also post your questions. Anytime you want to ask a question, use any of those features. However, towards the end of the presentation, there's also a section to ask your questions, but we welcome the questions at any time, please. So we also have another person who studied in Marbella. So we continue in Spain. We have Lefteris Tsoukalas, who did the Master in International Hotel Management with us recently. So good afternoon, Lefteris.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Lefteris and I come from Greece. And I finished the Master in International Hospitality Hotel Management. So if you have any question, I'm here to tell you through my experience how was that.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
I'm sure we have questions for you. Thank you. And then Dr. Diamantis from the Crans-Montana campus. Again, if you have studied in Crans-Montana, I'm sure you remember him very well. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Macrina. Thank you, Lefteris, John, everyone. Welcome to our session this afternoon. I'm Dr. Dimitrios Diamantis. Like Lefteris, originally from Greece, the only difference a bit older. So I have been abroad for a lot of years. So 30 years abroad, 20 years in Switzerland, at Les Roches and ultimately being involved in the graduate studies with the PGD from early 2000, MBA, etc., etc. More than happy today to share the thoughts, the ideas, the options that you have in both our campuses in terms of you further your graduate studies. Thank you. Speak to you later.
Thank you, Dr. Diamantis. And again, from the Crans-Montana campus, we have an alumni who's currently doing her postgraduate program and progressing to the MBA. Good afternoon, Amanda.
Good afternoon, Macrina. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Amanda. I am from Indonesia. I'm currently doing my second semester MBA studies, hoping to finish in October.
Thank you, because you're a great addition to this session, because you can give us your feedback on how is that progression into one of the options that we are talking about this afternoon. We will be posting you questions as well through the presentation. Thank you. And now I would like to introduce Mr. Mark O'Brien. He is in charge of graduate programs enrollment, and he's going to give us an overview of all these options that we currently have available for you alumni who completed or are about to complete your postgraduate program. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Macrina. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to run you through a quick slide of the different options we have, and then I'll pass over to Mr. Loiti and Dr. Diamantis and the students to talk a bit more about the offers and the opportunities in more specific detail. So essentially, we have a couple of different opportunities for alumni from the postgraduate diploma programs from Les Roches Marbella and Les Roches Crans-Montana, and these options will vary depending on when you studied at the school. So essentially, this conversation is really to highlight the options you have to convert your postgraduate diploma and upgrade that to either a master's in international hotel management or an MBA qualification, so that's the MBA in global hospitality management. So starting from this October, all postgraduate diploma graduates have the following opportunities. So if you started the postgraduate diploma in international hospitality management at Les Roches Crans-Montana, Les Roches Marbella, or Les Roches Xinjiang in Shanghai, from September 2018 onwards. If you enrolled in September 2018 or onwards, you have two very clear options. One is to progress into the Masters of International Hotel Management at Les Roches Marbella, and you would do that by completing the first semester of that program, which is 4.5 months, which Mr. Loiti will talk about on the following slides. Or you can also progress into the MBA in Global Hospitality Management at Les Roches Crans-Montana, where you would enter into the second semester of that program. And it doesn't matter whether you studied your postgraduate diploma in Les Roches Marbella, Crans-Montana, or in Xinjiang in China. You can opt for either of these options, and you can do you can switch campus and do either or. For those students who have graduated from the postgraduate diploma at Les Roches Marbella, Les Roches Crans-Montana, or Les Roches Xinjiang before you enrolled before September 2018, so we call that 2018-2 class. So if you enrolled anytime before September 2018, you have two options. One is again to enter into the International Hotel Management Masters at Les Roches Marbella. However, you would opt for the second term there, which is slightly shorter, and that's because the curriculum of the program was slightly different back then. You've covered different kinds of subjects, which again Mr. Loiti will explain. So you would enter into the second semester, or if you're a postgraduate diploma alumni from Les Roches Crans-Montana or Xinjiang from 2013 up until December 2018, then you would have the option to go into the MBA as well. So a few different options. So essentially, if you're an MBA or a postgraduate diploma graduate from Les Roches Crans-Montana, anytime from 2013 onwards, you can go into the MBA program or into the Masters in Marbella. And if you're a postgraduate diploma alumnus from Les Roches Marbella, anytime you started anytime after September 2018, then you can opt for either option. So as I said, there's a lot of detail in there, and every case is very specific. So if you're unsure about your specific situation, feel free to put it in the question box, but I'll hand back over to Macrina for the moment.
Thank you, Mark. Indeed, what we're going to do now, because obviously there were so many options and it might be confusing, when did I do my PGD? Mr. Loiti, now we're going to start with him with the pathway that you can take in Marbella. Remember, regardless of where you study and any of the 3 schools, there is a pathway for you. So if we start with Mr. Loiti, please explain us when or what can they do depending on when they did their PGD program.
Yeah. So Can I? Yeah. So if students are, as they mentioned, as I think Mark was very clear on the message from here, the key data is when you did your postgraduate, because depending on when you did your postgraduate, your transition to the master's program will be differently approached. First of all, if you allow me a couple of minutes just to explain what our Masters in International Hotel Management program is. This is the full program, and obviously you as an alumni will join to either term 1 or term 2, depending on your background. So on the term 1, on the first term, our approach to the school, to the program and to the studies are very much operational, very practical, with a little bit of business. On the first term, we try to understand the operational side of the hotel. We try to go from top to bottom for every single department, and we try to understand what's going on behind the scenes. We try to understand what's going on behind each department and what it means. And for us, and always it's been that way, and I think it's been a sense of a kind of culture in Les Roches, we first will learn by doing. The first 2 weeks of this term, it will be operational, and it will be very practical. You will have to go to the restaurants, you will have to go to a different room division labs, you will have to practice with software. We will try to put you in the same scenarios as if you were in the hotel. Once those 2 weeks are passed, we move to the classroom, and we try to understand from a theoretical point of view, from a management point of view, how to manage that operation that we experienced on our outlets. So this first term very much looks at the hotel as a unit. Looks at the hotel as an organization that we need to understand from the inside part how it works. Once we finish with this term, we move. I've successfully passed all the evaluation assignments that are prepared for students. Then we move to term 2. Term 2 is slightly shorter in time, but it's high intensity. This second term is a bit more focused on the business side. Try to position your business, try to understand the strategic side of your business within your environment, within your context, always giving an important touch of sustainability, and also with the applied project. With as any master, it does require the research activity, and students in this particular term, they will need to do an applied project, which I understand is one of the key part of the master's program, as research becomes something important as well for the students, as they need to challenge themselves for further and deeper research on particular interest. So the applied project will conclude the program, and there still will be a trip to Dubai as well as an experiential trip, which basically it helps us to validate what we do in campus from that sense. So this is the photograph of our program. Very operational, very much looking to the hotel side, very good understanding of what hotels do, how they work, how the operation is, and how to position that hotel in the market. So that's basically the picture, and they will be ready to jump to the internship. So if we move further to the next slide, we will see the first transition. And the first transition would be for those students that have studied in Les Roches, a PG, as from 2019.2. That means from the fall intake of 2018 onwards, they will have these options to come in to the school. Obviously, there might be different type of options, as there exist different electives on the PG program. So depending the name and depending the content of each electives, the transition to the master program would be different. But they all share the same things. They all share that they will be doing essentially the first semester of the masters. Our PG is very much a management PE, it's a hospitality management PE. Therefore, it doesn't go too much in detail in the operational side. This program gives you that solution to some extent, as you will review and as you will go deeper on the operational side of the hotel. Therefore, the transition from the PG program to the master's program, in this case, it will be jumping straight to master 1 semester, to the term 1, and you will get validated the term 2. Getting validated the term 2, obviously accepting the applied project that obviously it will need to happen anyway if you want to have a master's. So it will vary very much and very little differences in between the different bridges, and that differences are very much based on the options that the students choose on the electives part. So that's the first transition in Marbella from the PGD program in hospitality management, as from 2019 fall onwards. This is the transition.
And
then
they
we have a second option.
Yeah, they actually joined the first semester with the new students.
Yes.
So they will be joining
Yes.
a whole new class because they joined the
Yes.
first term. It says there that the joining date is 16th of October, and it's about 4.5 months. It's not even a semester.
That's basically what it takes the term. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's
so
go.
They will be joining, a new class. They will be joining a new promotion, a new intake of students. Yeah.
Correct. So let's go to the next slide for the other option for students who did their PG before September 18-2.
Yes, before September 2018, our PG program was very different to the current program in terms of curriculum, in terms of content. So in the past, our PG program, it was very operations based as well. Therefore, it makes sense that the transition of this PG alumni, it goes straight to term 2. We validate the first term, obviously, and I have to be very much honest with you, because this master that we are presenting today is essentially an evolution of that particular PG program. So the term 1 is validated with the PG course that you did with us back in time, and you will jump straight to term 2, where you will take subjects and content that were not done when you were on campus, and additionally, and I think this is the key part again, it will be the applied project that you will need to undertake. But I believe it's a very interesting opportunity because of the time. I know it's 3 months. Again, I would like to emphasize that 3 months are quite intense in terms of the workload, but I think that the reward for that short period of time is quite valuable. And the difference between a PG program and a master programs in terms of academic recognition is obvious. And obviously from that sense, I think it becomes quite an interesting approach. And bearing in mind the uncertain scenario that we have nowadays, I think it will be a quite interesting investment from that sense.
Yes, because also, if we could go back to the previous slide very quickly, please. These students who go into the term 2, because in Marbella the masters last for 9 months, so it's not 2 semesters, it's 9 months. So they join the second part. So the students or alumni joining this part of the master, they will be joining the students who started their master program this February. So that's why it's the 9th of October, and it's about 3 months long. Okay. So thank you, Mr. Loiti, very much. And now, yes, we're going traveling in the cyberspace to Switzerland for Dr. Diamantis, who's going to explain the pathway to go into the second semester of the MBA. However, I have to tell you that we have in the audience one of your students from the PG in 1901, Ashrit Magesh, excuse my pronunciation, and he is saying to you that hopefully you remember him, and he's coming for the MBA too.
Wonderful. Thank you, Macrina. Thank you, Jon Loiti. Thank you. I will stay actually only for 10 seconds because I have a surprise guest here, Mr. Frank Gunning, that he is my partner in crime at graduate studies. And ultimately, he will introduce you the generic flow. And once that is done, then I will go in detail as far as actually the classes and the credits and all that.
Thank you, Dr. Diamantis. Ashrit, welcome. Look forward to see you in a few months in Blush. Just really because you have done the PGD and everything, and I think it's important to realize that we feel that the progression to the MBA in Blush is possible once you've acquired your experience in the field. So something that you have to bear in mind, you know, you did your PGD, you had the operational management academic aspect of the course, you have added the experience in the field, and today, if you're looking for the springboard to the next level in your career and the sort of strategic thinking and pushing a little bit further, the MBA 2 progression is really an opportunity. With regard to the, and we may hear this from Amanda later, with regard to the sort of academic content, you were fortunate enough, certainly for the personal experience in Blush, to have some genuine academic lecturers and then balance that with the people who came from the field. And this sort of approach from the sort of academic rigor and experience, both sort of have created the environment that we feel if you succeeded with your PGD and are enjoying the industry, you will succeed in your MBA 2 progression. And we look forward to see you. Certainly, Ashwit, since you are there, welcome back. I'll see you in a few months. So thank you, Dr. Diamantis. I will stay behind the scene now.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you. So I will take you step by step into different kinds of scenarios, and ultimately we'll start with the next slide. The next slide clearly will go to describe the case of those PGD students that they started with us from September 2018. So from September 2018, you have done already the PGD program all later. And if you decide to move on to do the second semester of the MBA, you need to complete some credits. So the credits of the PGD first academic semester are 19. And as a result of that, those credits, the 19 credits of your first semester on campus, will be transferable to become MBA 1 credits. And thereafter, you have to complete the second semester of the MBA. That will be the remaining 21 credits that they will make in total 40 academic credits. By academic credits, I refer really to our accreditation. That is in both schools, is actually the North England Commission of Higher Education, otherwise known as NICE. So what do we do in the MBA second semester? Now, first of all, you're going to have the backbone kind of subjects. So you will have that in every kind of corporation, hospitality, service economy, experiential economy. It refers to strategy, but strategy needs to be related to value. Value in terms of its economic relevance, in terms of its social relevance, and in terms slightly of its environmental relevance. So value creation to different stakeholders of the organization. So strategic management, in other words. Then you will be moving to do another subject that is referring to destinations. Really, those are places, the majority of them government, involvement through tourism planning and development in certain areas, and we'll be looking at marketing at the destination and also planning at the destination. Then we'll be going with corporate finance. Remember the headline that is value to the shareholders. So corporate finance and shareholder value now a little bit more emphasis. And also data science and critical thinking, that it means that it's another core subject that's really statistics, but actually more user-friendly data that you can be able to make these strategic decisions. At last but not least, on the core subjects, we have consultancy project. That this really is a course that Amanda will also expand on that particular in a minute, that it has a real life kind of project. So this semester, we have two running projects, one for a core corporate at a head office in Paris, and the second at a Roccoforte corporate, with more particular Irene Forte, that is really the sort of the surname to remember. So that's the consultancy kind of project. So real live weekly calls with the head office people, update, mentorship, etc. So those all the skills are coming into play. Very intensive class because it has a lot of kind of diligent kind of deadlines that they need to be achieved. And then the rest of the MBA second semester is really this kind of personalization of subjects. So you as a student, you need to select the kind of subjects that they are relevant to you. What we have on the menu is actually real estate and properties, investment strategies, so 2 financial related kind of subjects, luxury branding and consumer behavior, 2 marketing related subjects, and one that is absolutely a driver in the 21st century is the business transformation and digital integration. So you will choose actually 3 out of the available 5, and ultimately you will complete, hopefully, the MBA with 21 credits. Now, the second semester of the MBA, like its first, we have a study trip in the city of Chicago in the USA. We hope by that time we'll do the study trip, everything will be calmer on the street and healthy as far as actually the COVID-19, that all these things are coming into play to see actually the real application. So 21 credits, in other words, for the intakes of 2018.2 we refer it to onwards. And if we will go to the next slide actually describes, because the program of the PGD had changed over the years, and we have started actually the PGD back in the year 2000. So you can imagine 20 years down the line, you changing the program, updating it, make it more relevant to the needs of the industry and the needs of the students. So if I can go please to the next slide. Thank you. So the next slide actually covers the category of the PGD students that they are actually started or they have done the PGD from January 2013 and they graduated no later than 2018. Now, remember the story of credit transfer, right? So ultimately for those PGD students, the credit transfer to the current portfolio of the second semester of the MBA needs to be slightly different because of credit transfer situations. And as a result of that, they will be doing similar subjects, but with a different kind of variations. Now, they need to achieve in total 22 credits. So if you're looking actually the core subjects I previously have described, so they remain the same, you will notice that there we have added consumer behavior and insights in on the core subjects and the hospitality economics. The reason is that those 2 subjects that we have added are actually from our first semester of the MBA. So ultimately, data analytics, destination, corporate finance, consultancy project, consumer behavior, and hospitality economics. Now, why is this? Because if you looked actually back to the PGD that you have done from January 2023 or later, it was really lacking on focus on consumer behavior and understand really the world and the global economics. So that's why we brought them onward, and the others actually are pretty much remain exactly the same. And also, as far as the elective subjects are concerned, you have now 4 electives that you can choose from, and you make a choice out of 3, right? So in total, you achieve 6 credits from the electives, and the remaining credits really from your core subjects, 16. So 16 from your core, 6 from your electives, in total 22 credits, and then you can actually graduate with an MBA. So your PGD credits are becoming MBA 1 credit plus the second semester of the MBA, in total 40 academic credits. So exactly again with the study trip remains exactly the same, is the DNAs of both Marbella as well as actually ourselves, that's the study trips, they should be part of the experience of the graduate studies. So if we look in terms of your potential arrival kind of days or registration and the check-in on the 9th of October 2020, if everything goes well, we have our fingers crossed that everything is looking quite bright, that this is going to happen. Then we have actually the break, that is the Christmas kind of break. We're starting early January, okay? The classes on the 4th of January start, and we are expecting the semester to be completed the last day of the semester, the 19th of February 2021. So by that time, everything will go well. And if you join us in both schools, I think that's the period that we are looking for, the longer duration of the studies. So that's from my side. I'm looking forward to any questions that you can have. I'd just like to take only a little bit of a minute at a later stage to also introduce you Amanda, that she can be able really to fully explain her experience of the MBA. She was a student that she started with the PGD. She went to work in the industry and she came back to join us. And I'm looking forward also to hear her words in terms of the overall experience.
Yes,
so thank you so very much.
We're going to have a section where both of the alumni, they're going to explain their story. Thank you very much. So what we're going to do now, after we finally understand all the options that we have, regardless of which PG you completed, we're going to go to a slide that says your tools. So if we can go to the slide, we're going to talk with Mark, who's going to tell us the different assets that you can get hold of in order to understand all these options. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Macarena. Thank you, Dr. Diamantis and Mr. Loiti as well. It's very interesting. So yes, so obviously, as you've seen, there's a few different options as to what progression you might want to take into the master's or the MBA program. And there are also, that will really also depend on when you graduated and how many credits you've taken. So we understand there's a lot of information there, so we've put it all together in one information booklet. So you'll see there's an information booklet which contains all the information about progressing from the postgraduate diploma into the master's or into the MBA program. You probably or should have already received this from your educational counselor. If not, if you just type a note into the question box to say that you haven't yet got the information booklet or you would like it, we can definitely ensure that you get that sent out in a PDF format in the next day or so. Just the next slide, please, Maria. Just to look at the admissions requirements. So for each program, the admissions requirements are slightly different. Of course, you must have completed your postgraduate diploma. So if you've already graduated from the program and you've got your certificate, then fantastic. We will have that on file already. We'll have your transcript and your certificate on our system. If you are a current student who started the postgraduate diploma in February, who has not yet completed their internship, this can be moved to the end of the master's or the MBA program. So there's no need to worry about that. So you can still fulfill the requirement of doing your internship at the end of the master's or the MBA program, and the careers and internship team will work with you on ensuring that is possible. Of course, as a GLIA or as a Les Roches student, you would not be required to pay the application fee. However, the other documents are required. Of course, we have your transcript, your diploma, but we'd need your updated CV because you may have gone and worked somewhere else in between. We would need, of course, the other application documents such as the application form, financial sponsor letter, the motivational essay, and for the programs there are a minimum age requirement. For the masters at Les Roches Marbella, it's 21 years old, and if you are interested in the MBA program at Les Roches Crans-Montana, you must be 23 years old at the start of the program. Just the next slide, please. And these are the application forms. So you'll see there's different, although the information booklet contains information on both programs and both options and both campuses, the application forms are slightly different given the different kind of requirements we need for each campus. So you'll see there's an application form for Les Roches Crans-Montana, and then there's an application package for Les Roches Marbella, which contains a few different bits and pieces of documents that we are required to collect from students applying to Les Roches Marbella. And I think I will hand back to Macarena.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Macarena. And again, sorry,
yes.
Yes, sorry. And just with the application packages, again, if you haven't yet got an application pack or form and you want one, do let us know in the question box and we can send it on to you. In terms of costs, of course, an important thing to factor in. These are the costs of the program, including room and half board. So, of course, if you already have your own accommodation or prefer to get your own accommodation in Crans-Montana or in Bluche or in Marbella, obviously these costs will change, but these costs here listed are the tuition fees plus the room plus half board. So for the Les Roches Marbella, for the 3-month master option, if you fall into that category, that's €13,210. For Les Roches Marbella, for the 5-month master option, if you fall into that category, it's 16,890. And for Les Roches Crans-Montana, the MBA second semester, that's 39,800 Swiss francs. As I said, those are the tuition fees plus a room plus half board. So that will vary or change depending on your requirements around accommodation. There are scholarship opportunities. As an Les Roches alumnus, you will qualify automatically for a 20% scholarship as an Les Roches alum. And then of course then, so that will be automatically applied to your tuition fees if you were to proceed with one of these options. Obviously, if you require further financial aid, that's something you can speak to your educational counsellor about, and they can discuss the different options. So I'll hand back to you, Macrina. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for all that information. So now this is a time when I would like to ask our ambassadors, Lefteris and Amanda, because if the audience wants to make any questions, please do so. Otherwise, I would like to ask them questions as well, because they have already completed this program. In the case of Lefteris, our ambassador from Greece, who did his master in international hotel management in Marbella. So he already completed it. But then we have Amanda, who's currently completed the MBA 2 semester. So since we started with the campus in Spain, we're going to ask Lefteris, who already completed the program, as I said, what made you decide, because obviously you joined us last September, over a year ago, and you had the chance to do the PG program or the master program, which was not the case for a lot of our alumni when there were not this program available. So what made you choose? What did you think that the master was going to give you much more, obviously apart from the higher qualification that a master is compared to a PG? Why did you decide on this specific master?
So hi to everyone once again. I remember that I was seeing all the courses before I take the decision. And actually, I decided I preferred the master program because I was thinking, and I'm thinking that it is more complete program that combines the operation of the first semester with courses such as food and beverage, room division, etc. And also the business part at the second semester with courses such as strategic management, sustainability of the hotel. And this is the main reason that is more specific in hotels. And the practical courses that we had as well, such as the opera system or food and beverage service, the kitchen, and also various visits in big hotels of Marbella and branch that we had the chance to discuss and to have a presentation with the executives. And to see everything, all the theory, how it's implemented in practice. This is the main reasons that I took into account, and I decided the master program.
So you were going for the practical part that this master was providing, right? The mastering the operational side and the management side of running a hotel. Thank you,
Exactly.
Lefteris.
Exactly.
So
thank you very much.
Thank you. In your case, you first joined the postgraduate in hospitality management, but you knew already that you wanted to jump into the MBA too. What were your reasons for doing that pathway, please?
So for me, choosing the MBA 2 was to get that complete experience and to really understand the industry as a whole in a way. I came in without a lot of experience, but then also I took into consideration that if I did come back for the MBA straight away, then I wouldn't have to come back later when I'm already working in the industry. So I think it kind of provided a smoother transition into just getting the whole education part done and then going into the industry and working full-time without having to think about when is the next right timing in a way to come back for the MBA 2.
Excellent, thank you very much. So in the audience, we don't have any questions at the moment. Please do so, because they are our ambassadors and they have lived the experience themselves. Amanda is still to complete it. One thing that we would like to add in the case of both programs, if you haven't completed your internship, you can do that at the end of either the MBA or the master program. So you of course get that part that Les Roches is obviously so generous in giving this opportunity in top brands around the world to do an internship, which is a foot inside the door of these top level companies. Right, so if there are not any more questions, please remember that you have the email address of our department for graduate programs. I would like to take this opportunity to obviously thank our ambassadors, Amanda and Lefteris, but also the rest of the speakers we had this afternoon, from Sophie to Mark, to Dr. Diamantis, Mr. Loiti. So thank you very much, everyone. Remember, you have on the screen the email address where we can send you more information, or if you have still more questions, remember, you also can contact your educational counselor in your country, okay? And we remain, all of us, at your disposal, and we would like to see you back at either of the two campuses. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Lefteri. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hi, Macrina. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.